Hi, I'm Doug Turner, and welcome to Building Paradise. And today I have my very good friend Chris Stoyles here.
Hello, how are you doing?
Chris Stoyles is with Archiscapes, a local architectural company that designs custom homes. And Chris is also designing properties around the country. But today we're really here to talk about the design process here on the Emerald Coast with Chris. And you'll notice that Chris talks with an English accent.
I'm from Yorkshire. I'm from a little town called Ilkley, which is actually a famous little village, famous for its moors. It's close to the Lake District, close to Scotland. So I'm a little bit Scottish in a way, about an hour away from Scotland.
Okay.
But I'm not a southerner, I'm more of a northerner. So you're a southerner and I'm a northerner.
Correct.
But it's the flip-flopped in England because the northerners are the city people, right? The southerners are the city people and then the northerners are the country boys. So I'm a country boy, which is why I love this area because I don't like cities. I like to do stuff in a relaxed atmosphere in a place like 30A where it's more like laid back, it's fun, it's not the hustle and bustle of the city, and that's why I love 30A. We have actually been down here about 18 years, can you believe that? And how long have we known you for?
At least 6.
At least 6. So we've known each other for ages, and but we've down here 18 years, and with my wife, Amy, which I've got to point that out, Amy, because she's the boss, she's the one that looks after us all. And we have about seven of us total. There's about 5 architects that we employ full time. And then there's me, and then there's Amy, that's of course in charge. On the second date, we started Archiscapes. I don't think many people can say that they met at the YMCA, which is a cliche, but hey, we had that song playing at our wedding, the YMCA song. We met at the YMCA, and then second date, we started Archiscapes. And then from there, it's just gone like a big roller coaster, but mostly up hills all the time. Architecture isn't about just drawing and then working with people. It's about communication, right? It's about how you call people. And you've got to be very good with communication with people. She is very practical, I'm very creative, so we come together like this, and then that's how we created Archiscapes. Without Amy, I could not have been standing here with you today and working on all these magnificent houses on 30A, and living my dream without Amy, because I am hopeless on the business side of things, terrible. But the creative side of things, I love it. We've been doing a lot of work. Most of our work is along 30A, and 30A is very famous for its new urbanism communities. In fact, it was the very first place in America, maybe the world if I'm correct, that did a new urbanist community. That of course being Seaside, right?
Yes,
Seaside,
yes.
right? So it all started with Seaside, and you and I won't be down here if it wasn't for Seaside. And then came Watercolor, and then came Water Sound, Rosemary Beach, and then Alice Beach. We like to make things fun, especially with Doug. Doug is a great contractor to work with. I think we mix pretty well, don't we, Doug?
We do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun and we do some great things.
We do some stuff. We have some challenges at the same time.
Right.
But the main thing I like to do is I like to make architecture fun, where it doesn't become like hard for the client. Some people get intimidated by doing a custom house or even a spec house, right? It's intimidating. And what I like to do is sit people around the table and call in a contractor at the early stages, like, hey Doug, come on in, or Doug will call me in, or meet at my office and set a meeting. It goes either way. And then sit at the table with the owner, make them feel at home, joke around and everything, and just have fun and get their wish list. It all starts with a wish list that the client has. And then we take that wish list and then we start sketching the plan. Actually, sometimes we sketch the plan in front of them. So they become part of this design process, right? You can't design on a computer. I don't know how people design on a computer. I'm still an old pen guy, and actually Sharpies on trash paper, and just scribble away. And what I do is I start scribbling in front of the owners. If I see it not working, I would even flip that trash and go, hey, what about this side, or what this side, And sometimes it will start to slowly come to you. Then you get a big chunky pen, and then you go over it until you've got the concept down. Because what I say is if your best concepts are not on big pieces of paper, you've got to put your concept on a post-it note. A little post-it note is where your concept should go, right? If you can't fit a concept of a house on the post-it note, it's not a good concept. The best thing is when people come back to me after the houses are done, after you've built them and I've designed them, and they say, oh Chris, I'm enjoying my house, it's fantastic, you know, really having a good time. That means more to me, Doug, than it does being published in a magazine.
Yeah.
That's all very well and everything, but that means more to me, and that's what my ultimate goal is for them to come back and say, hey, I'm enjoying my house.
Yeah.
I love it.
So Chris, let's kind of talk about how a client would decide to work with Archiscapes.
Right,
Because
okay.
you have some wonderful stock plans
Yes.
that you've got on your website.
Yep.
That sometimes you can build them just the way they are.
Exactly, yep.
Or you have a process in which you can make modifications to those
Yep.
plans. And then if you want something, you know, a really nice, beautiful home that's almost like a piece of art,
Yes.
if you will,
Yeah.
you have your custom where you just start from scratch. It's a one of a kind. It's
Yes.
never been built before, and probably never to be ever built again.
Well, no, we don't build those again.
So those
Yeah.
are unique, and kind of walk us through the process of how someone would make a decision what's best for them.
Yeah, that's a decision that we have to make early on, of course. Most of it, quite bluntly, is to do with budget, you know, and where you are, what neighborhood you're in too. So it's very important that you pick and choose which direction you want to go. Whether you want to go with a house that we've already got drawn, which we call spec houses, which is necessarily just a house plan that we've done that we can reuse over and over again. And we've got about 60 to 100 of those plans that you can choose from. Or do a total custom house. If you've got, typically, if people come to me and say, oh, I've got about $800,000 to spend on a house, that might seem like a ton of money from people coming from other places in America. I know I've encountered this, and people think, oh, we can get a nice custom house for that. But down here, the problem is things cost a little bit more because we live in paradise, right?
Do you have like a rule of thumb if like somebody's coming from Atlanta, Birmingham, you know, one of the areas that they travel from frequently here,
right.
and they can build something for X per square foot at that type of a house, how much more do you suggest to people to expect to pay percentage-wise over where they are in some of these other southern markets?
About 3 times more. About 3 times more, believe it or not. 3 times more. Typically when a client comes to us, one of our first questions is, you know, do you have a wish list? And then I will ask them, what is your budget? I mean, I don't want to ask them the budget halfway through the project.
Exactly.
You know, and then all of a sudden, I'm designing up here, and then their budget's down here, or maybe it's the opposite way, which is very rare. But you know, everybody's got a budget. I don't care if you're an $800,000 house, a $300,000 house, or a $10 million house. Everybody's got some kind of budget, right?
Correct.
But my rule of thumb, if you are at about $1 million or under, I'm going to say, hey, can I show you some of the houses that we've already got done? On a lot of these houses, we are literally fighting for every, I mean, it seems crazy from people from Alabama and stuff, or Georgia, or anywhere else in America coming in thinking, my God, you're telling me about half an inch I can gain here? Well, yeah, that half an inch is actually beneficial.
That might make a stairwell comply with code,
Yes,
for
yes.
instance.
Exactly, yes.
You have the
Because
code
you
issues,
got a
you have
minimum
to-
image. If you're half
Yeah.
an inch under, they make you redo it.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to fit everything into this house, and that you need in a house. Another term I use for these houses is called little big houses, because even though the square footage might seem less than where people have come from, you know, they might have come from a 3,500 square foot to then now they're in a 2,500 square foot, they still want to seem like they're in a big house. So that's why I call them little big houses.
Well, you do that by lifting the ceilings and going 10 and 12
Yeah,
foot
going to
ceilings,
higher
transom
ceilings.
windows, and it makes the home feel, it brings in much more light,
Yes.
because you may come from a house that could have been built several years ago that's a big 3,000 square foot house,
exactly, yes.
but it may have 8-foot ceilings,
Yes,
and that's going to make the house feel dark. And,
Yes.
and light is life,
yes.
in essence. That's what it gives you. Light gives you life and happiness.
But another trick is that we play to make these little big houses, right, is to make them all fully open floor plans with hardly any hallways. Because down here, you pay for every square foot that you use. So you better use all that square foot,
Right.
right? Because it's expensive. So you use all that square foot, every nook and cranny you can find, use as storage. You know, like this space we're in here it's a big room, it has a kitchen, dining and living all in one space with the Euro doors. And for people that don't know Euro doors are these 10-foot doors that open up like walls of glass. And what they do is they make the rooms even seem bigger. Spend the money where you see it. That's in the kitchen. People love the kitchens. People want big kitchens. Like this is a big kitchen. For a small house, this is a huge kitchen. Spend the money in the living room, wood paneling and everything, Euro doors and everything. Don't spend as much money in the guest bedrooms. You know, sheetrock's fine in those bedrooms. Maybe in the master you can do a little bit of wood, but spend the money in the areas you are going to live and the outdoor areas you are going to live. You've got to have a balance, a percentage based upon outdoor space and inside space. That percentage has got to work. If your outside space is heavy and inside, well, your house is going to cost more money, right? So you've got to have a great balance between that. So when a client comes to us and they want to customize a plan, we get a feel for how long it's going to take pretty much at the beginning, because they bring a wish list, right? And if the wish list is, for instance, oh, I just want to expand this room out or just do this. If that's all they want to do, that doesn't take long at all. That might take me about maybe 3 or 4 hours to do something like that to make sure my drawings are good. But then we have other clients that come and say, oh, I'd like to add a tower to the house. Well, that takes a little bit longer. That varies depending on the amount of changes the owner wants to do. But we work well with them, and it's whatever they want to do. We work for them. There's a preliminary submittal you've got to make. You've got to always do a preliminary submittal and then a final submittal. There's no way around that in most of these communities.
So that's 2 meetings.
So that's 2 DRB meetings. The average is about, by the time you factor in all the time, like you have a month before you submit and then you've got to do that. I would say the quickest you can get a plan through, like a Forest Lakes neighborhood or something, is going to be about 3 to 4 months.
You can do some of the permitting process, like some site plan stuff. You can, in some cases, get that done while you're in between meetings, so that way you could get your building permit done after you have your total.
You can get in line.
Yeah, you get in line. A minimum 6 months.
Yes.
And then, like in Forest Lakes, to build, depending on the complexity of the house, 10 to 12 months.
Yeah.
That's why I always advise folks when they're thinking about it. I say you just can't start soon enough, because it's better to go ahead and start that 6-month process and not be under pressure.
Doug here, this guy right here, he's one of my favorite builders down here.
Well, thank you.
And I think we make a really good team together, because we do work with the clients together, and then we make it exciting for them where it becomes seamless. Pick an architect and pick a builder as a team, so we can work as a team to make sure we hit the budget, because I am a creative person. I can blow your budget in a stroke of a pen, you know. Working together, you and I, we can tell them, look, it's this much money, but this is much money. Well, you can say it's this much money compared to the whole, look at the whole picture of the price, right? It's nothing compared to the whole picture of the price of the house.
Correct.
So get what you want.
Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you learned a lot with my good friend Chris Stoyles. There's a lot of good information, Chris. And thanks for sharing today, and we'll see you next time.
And I hope to see you all soon.